Welcome to our council meeting. Thank you for being here. Thanks. Everyone's here with the council and our mayor and legal and recorder and everyone else here. Thank you for being here. If you'd please turn off any cell phones, or at least turn them to vibrator or silent, that would be great for us. Thank you. Our first order of business is I have asked Sean Delascave if he would please lead us in our pledge. Sean's with our Murray Journal and does lots of other stuff. So welcome, Sean. Thanks for doing that for us.
Would you please stand and face the flag? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate that. Next on approval minutes, on the orders, the agenda, is our council meetings from March 5th, 2019. Are there any questions or any things that need to be noted? If there are, make them. If not, we'll ask for a motion.
I'll move approval of the minutes for March 5th, 2019.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, next we have special recognition, Murray City Council Employee of the Month, Ashley Devon. She's with our Murray Municipal Court. And Karen, if you'll come up, and I'll come over and present also.
She's Mike Williams.
Can I shut that or no? Okay, I don't want to shut it and then have it go all weird. How are you? All right, so on the city council part, Ashley, we just wanted to congratulate you and recognize you as the employee of the month. This is a certificate from the Murray City Council. And then most importantly is this $50 gift card for you. Sorry, I took it out of the thing. And then we'll put your name back on the plaques there. And we just wanted, we did this years ago and wanted to recognize our employees and for their hard work. And Karen recommended you, and we're just grateful again for your service, and especially over at the courts. And so we appreciate all you do. So from the council, we'd like to just give you a big round of applause. And then Karen, we're going to turn some time over to Karen.
Okay. I just want to say that when it came our time to have the Employee of the Month, I knew that Ashley was going to be it. She takes on the work willingly and responsibly and does a great job. So I'm glad to have her on our team.
Great.
Ashley, do you have anybody that you brought with you at all today?
What?
Anybody that you've brought with you?
Yeah.
Go ahead and say whatever you want to say.
So my husband and my daughter are here, which are the reason that I work so hard, and I am very happy to work for Murray City, and thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Thanks, Karen. And you guys don't have to stay unless you want to stay and enjoy the meeting, but look at how fast her husband got up. Man, I've never seen anybody jump up that fast. Maybe Del Cox, but all righty. Next, consider a joint resolution of the mayor and municipal council of Murray City, Utah, in support of the Murray Exchange Club by recognizing and declaring April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Mayor Camp, turn that time over to you.
Sherry Van Bibber.
Yeah, she'll come up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a joint resolution of the Mayor Municipal Council, and we do have some members of the Exchange Club here this evening, and I think we'll introduce them after we read the resolution, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is a joint resolution of the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, in support of the Murray Exchange Club by recognizing and declaring April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Murray's greatest asset is our children. All children deserve to grow up in a safe and nurturing environment to assure they reach their full potential. Whereas child abuse is a serious and growing problem affecting over 3 million of our nation's children annually, with over 29,000 cases of child abuse and neglect reported statewide and 210 cases right here in our city. And whereas this societal malignancy called child abuse respects no racial, religious, socioeconomic, or geographic boundaries, and in fact has been declared a national emergency. And whereas the National Exchange Club has adopted this cause as its national project and is supporting parent aid programs, parenting classes, educational programs, and community service activities, and is helping to make significant progress in stopping this crime against families and children. And whereas the Murray Exchange Club members are active and positive participants in the City of Murray in accordance with the standards of the National Exchange Club, and whereas the Murray Exchange Club is anxious and appreciative to share this worthwhile cause and opportunity with Murray City. Now therefore, as the Mayor and the Murray City Municipal Council, we hereby resolve to recognize and declare April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And we urge all citizens to use this time to better understand, recognize, and respond to this grievous problem. And be it further resolved that in support of the Murray Exchange Club and this worthwhile cause, Murray City will fly the child abuse prevention flag in front of City Hall under our flags from April 1st through April 30th. To promote awareness of child abuse prevention, the Exchange Club will host a gathering in front of City Hall on Monday, April 1st at 6:30 p.m. to kick off their month-long effort by tying 210 blue ribbons on the trees and placing 210 blue and silver pinwheels in the grass and flower beds, representing the number of the all-encompassing cases of child abuse and neglect. Please join us. We are appreciative of the work, care, and concern that our victim advocates, police, and detectives put forth in dealing with these tough cases. It is our hope that those numbers will decrease as families develop healthy, caring, nurturing, and loving relationships. And be it still further resolved, we commend the Murray Exchange Club for their continued efforts in helping families break free from this vicious cycle of child abuse. Our nation's greatest asset is our children. All children deserve to grow up in a safe and nurturing environment to assure they will reach their full potential. And that is the resolution.
Thank you, Mayor Camp. Are there any questions? For the
No,
mayor
but I
or
would-
comment.
I'd make a motion that we adopt the resolution of the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, in support of the Murray Exchange Club by recognizing and declaring April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month.
I'll second.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and I want to take just a moment and express appreciation to the members of the Exchange Club that are here. Sherry, would you come up? Brandon, Jay, who else is here from the Exchange Club?
That's our club.
Okay.
We're dwindling.
Oh, you're going to take the picture.
Brandon, you need to get in the picture, don't you?
Brandon, Charles can take it. He's right there.
Let Charles take the picture.
I can stand tall.
Oh, okay.
Sherry.
And hold this.
Thank you.
Okay. So who do I give this to? Sherry, would you like to say a few words?
We're hoping that we can entice you all to come and join us. We meet here the first and third Wednesday of every morning from 7:30 to 8:30. We are, if you've ever heard of the Rotary Club, we're the Murray Exchange Club, which we are more of a city organization of service to our community. We have 700 exchange clubs across the nation, and we were started here in 2002. And Jay, were you on that? Yeah, and we have a member that's not with us tonight. He started the club, Tom Henry, who owns Turnkey Auto in Murray. And we are hoping on April 1st when we plant we're inviting you all to bring your families to help plant the pinwheels. We want to honor Tom that night. He was just diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And he has done so much to get back to this city. And this is, Haunted Woods is kind of our big thing that we took over with affection from the Murray City. And we've been making around $10,000 the past 5 years that we took it over. And we give the proceeds back to prevention of child abuse and domestic violence. And so on this night, we present the checks to the groups that we give to. And I just kind of wanted to share the groups that we've given to, and we've already done a couple, is the Salt Lake Emergency Fund to the Murray Advocates. We were able to help a family that hadn't had a furnace for 3 years. To the 10 for veterans, the suicide prevention. Shelter Kids for the county, Taylorsville Family Center, the South Valley Sanctuary, the Road Home, the Youth Shelter, Road Home, the Prevent Child Abuse Utah, Boys and Girls Club of Murray, and Sugar House. We're looking at helping the Midvale Family Shelter this year, the Mother Substance Abuse Shelter, which is located nearby, and there's a Murray Food Bank. So we're always looking for these type of groups that we want to give back to. And so we invite everybody out next October to help support the Murray Haunted Woods, because it's a great moment, and it's a great give back to the city. And Tom Henry, our member that's got the cancer, he was our heart of that. He was our electronics. He did everything behind the scenes. And so, it's just, Yeah. So we need extra help this year. So if anybody wants to come out and help with that too, it's done totally with volunteers. Murray High, the clubs give a lot back to that. Skyline High, those students give a lot to us. And we have schools from all over the valley that come and help do that. And so we run that totally with volunteers. But I just wanted to share too, the Murray Exchange Club, there's a few things, the prevention of child abuse and domestic violence, and some of our club members, our children have been impacted by internet abuse, and so it's right here in our neighborhoods. Trafficking that's going on with youth, and it's right here in our state and in our city, and we have resources and a lot that we try and provide funding for with CAPS, child abuse prevention, to give back to help families in Murray with that, and also in the state. Also service to the community. We do a lot of service. We nationwide, we're known for the service that Murray gives back, and even with our small club, we do a lot. We get a lot of help from the community to do that. We honor our senior citizens, our veterans, and our fire and police, who we are so grateful for. One year the kids all made rice packs for the fire department. One year they made them for the police department for the heat that they take, and they made the rice packs for them to help them when they go home. But the other is Americanism and giving. We work on the 4th of July. We head off the parade with the Give a Kid a Flag campaign, and we give 12,000 flags away. So we invite you to do the 4th of July parade with us too, because we're going to need more help than the three of us. So anyway, we welcome you. The city has our information, and like I said, we meet here every Wednesday, 1st and 3rd, from 7:30 to 8:30. Did I hit it all? Okay, thank you guys.
All right, Sherry.
Thanks for adopting us. And come out April 1st and plant the pinwheels and tie the ribbons.
Sherry, are you student? I saw you
I'm in
look, I
that,
can't
Sherry.
see, but are your students here?
Are they here? I should put my glasses. Hi.
Or have them at least stand. You can introduce them or have them stand. But
I have to put my glasses on. These guys, these are some of our Skyline kiddos. These guys are amazing, and they do a lot to give back to our community. They've been amazing in helping us with the Haunted Woods. Yeah, and these are our youth government, and we call it our Salt Lake Youth Excel Club. So
They're
we
amazing.
couldn't do it without them.
Sherry, what time is that on April 1st
6:30.
here at City Hall?
6:30. It goes really fast, but we are able to honor and give those checks out to the groups, and it's nice that our community comes out and supports and sees where that money is going for, and where it came from. It came from when we do the Haunted Woods. We have about 1,200 people a night. We took it. Murray City had it. We took it from 2 nights to 3 nights. We took it a few hours more, and it's just grown every year with food trucks, and everybody has been able to give a lot back from that to go back to the prevention of child abuse. But
Right.
thank you all, Murray City, for this support, and we ask you to keep doing it.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted just hearing what they do.
I've thought that several times after Sherry explains all the things they do. And thanks to you youth. You guys are amazing. We happen to know Sarah quite well. She has a piece of our heart, but we appreciate all that you do, and it's really appreciated. So thank you. I think another round for everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, next. This next part of the agenda is citizen comments. Now, we have a public hearing, and so there will be time to comment on specifically on that public hearing. This is not the time. This is just on other things that you might have on thoughts or things that you'd like to bring to our attention, but this is not part of the public hearing. So we'll just start with citizen comments. If there's anybody's here that are for just citizen comments.
Just quickly, Ann Granado from the Salt Lake County Council, Mayor Camp, awesome members of the commission, and all of the people that support you. I just want to commend you on the platinum standard of the statement, all great government is local. From a citizen's point of view, there's nothing like knowing right where your representative lives and being able to contact him. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann. We appreciate it. Now, Ann is part of the legislation, right? Salt Lake County. Salt Lake County, that's right. Salt Lake County. I know Dale Cox speaks very highly of you. All righty. We'll now go on to, are there any other comments? Look at Tim. We'll end that part of the agenda, and we'll move on to our only public hearing for the evening. And we're here to consider an ordinance relating to land use, amends the general plan from low-density residential to medium-density residential for the property located at approximately 344 East, 5600 South, Murray City, Utah. And Melinda Greenwood to present, and Murray Yellow House are the applicants. Welcome, Melinda.
Thank you. In the future, I'm going to find a better location for my laptop.
That's fine.
Let me get this set. Oh.
I knew we shouldn't have closed it, Melinda. Sorry. Oh, came up.
Okay. That's. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your patience. I think we're ready now. And I apologize because are you the applicants? I have not met you. I am so sorry. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go through just a brief presentation, and then you can have an opportunity to present your case to the council. So we're here this evening to hear about a general plan amendment request that's come through the Planning Commission already. The property address is 344 East, 5600 South. Right now, the existing land use designation is low-density residential, and the applicant has requested that be changed through the general plan amendment to medium density. The property size is 1.53 acres, and here is a map that gives you an aerial view of the property just south of 5600 South. It is interesting to note that the applicant owns the property directly adjacent to that to the east, and that is currently being used as multifamily housing, right? So this is just another view of the subject property. And then we have here the future land use map that shows the current designation of the low density. There is some medium density that is surrounding the area, but the majority of the adjacent parcels are low density. And then just a side-by-side comparison of, in 2003, the general plan also had the property listed at low density residential, so that remained the same with the 2017 general plan update that just came through 2 years ago. And the Planning Commission did hear this item on February 7th. There were some public comments that were received that evening, and pursuant to the public comments and staff recommendation, they did forward this to the City Council with a recommendation of denial. And then tonight, staff is also recommending to the City Council that per the Planning Commission recommendation, that the City Council deny the request for the general plan amendment from from low density to the medium density. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and then again, the applicant is here.
Any questions for Melinda?
What was the overriding argument against increasing it from low to medium?
I think it was just the density, well, twofold. One is that it has been on the books for quite a while with the low density, and the Planning Commission has tended to be supportive of the fact that we just went through that general plan amendment and wanting to keep the consistency with what process we just went through so recently with 2 years ago. And then I think the other thing was just that the impact, let me go back to the property, the impact of this property with the new density could mean up to 22 units on that
How many?
acre, up to 22.
22.
Because it's an acre and a half, so the density would be, let me just look here, but it would be between 6 and 15 dwelling units per acre. So with an acre and a half, there could be up to 22 units on that acre.
What is it now?
It's undeveloped, correct?
No, but how many units would it be?
Between 1 and 8 units.
1 to 8? Okay, I got it. All right.
Okay.
Residential.
Any other questions for Melinda? Thanks, Melinda. All right, we'd like to invite our sponsors, Murray Yellow House, to please come up. Thanks for being here.
My name's Mike Lamy. I'm the agent for the seller. They're out of town. They couldn't be here. They had a death in the family recently. So I wanted to thank the Planning and Zoning Commission. My daughter and I, Jessica, have never done this before, coming and talk to the Planning and Zoning and or City Council. And the Planning and Zoning Department did a fantastic job. You guys, very helpful, extremely helpful. So I guess the only issue that we would like to bring up as to why it should be rezoned is if you were to look, is this on your?
Yes.
Okay. The middle map, basically, it has been purported to us the entire time that the general amendment, the zoning, the new, what's it called? General plan. The planning and zoning just didn't want to change it. I mean, and so I think it was understood through the planning and zoning that the general plan was accurate and nothing should be changed because it's so new. Well, I guess there was one instance where the algorithms in the software that created that general plan was wrong. And so and I think it had to do with Applegate apartments or condos. The zoning was changed in the algorithms. And so you had to go back in and be adjusted. So as far as the general plan is concerned, it's not, supposedly accurate all the way. So the argument, I guess, would be if the city wanted to go ahead and keep about the same amount of acreage and/or zoning in place. If you look to the east of, so the contiguous parcel to the east is the apartment complex, and then to the east of that is a subdivision, R18. And so even though it's zoned RM15, so there is space, acreage available to go ahead and keep the integrity that had existed from the beginning, because I am sure in the future, those houses aren't going to be bulldozed and an apartment complex or whatever, the RM15 is going to go ahead and allow to be built there. And then across the street to the north, if you were to follow the line, the west side across into the vacant land that we're asking to change, that is now R18 to RM15, you could see that it easily could have been brought across to the south so that it would include the R18 into the RM15. So anyway, those are just a few of the generalized arguments that we would have to propose the change.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right. Any other questions amongst the council before we open it up to comments? Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll open this up now for public comments. Please keep them to 3 minutes. We'll have Jan here. We'll do the timing on it. And then also, there's a form to fill out. If you don't have to fill it out before, but if you'd please fill it out before you leave. And then when you come up to the podium, if you just state your name and address, we'd appreciate it. So we'll open this up for public comments. Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Joyce Page, and I live at 5682 Hillside Drive. Our property is directly across from that piece of their property that comes out on Hillside Drive. I'd just like to give you a little bit of the history of Hillside Drive. I've lived there 49 years. I had 2 little boys when I moved there, toddlers, and the first thing I learned was you never let your kids play in the front yard on Hillside Drive. We've had 2 houses hit on that street. One house is on the south side of that property that was hit and damaged quite severely. We've had a car roll and land in the property house on the north side of that street. We're one of the only ones that do not have trees in our parking strip because we couldn't afford to keep replacing them. We replaced them and replaced them and replaced them. We finally said, enough's enough, and puts them in. We have to keep a tree in our front yard to keep the cars from hitting our house. I can't even tell you how many cars have been through our front yard. A few years ago, it hit that tree so hard, it left a 4-inch circle around where it knocked it. Our daughter's car was parked in front of the house. It was totaled, hit and totaled. We used to be able to call Murray City and say, there's a wreck on Hillside Drive, and they would say, we're on our way, because they knew where it was on that curb. The power pole that is on the border of the house on the south side of that property and that property used to be taken out almost every other month. So the city, when they put the mall in down there, decided to put Fashion Place Mall in, or Fashion Place Boulevard, to relieve the traffic, which has helped quite a bit. Now our problem is, even though we're still having cars off, even though they've put that road in, we still have cars off all the time going through our yard. They built the new junior high school and closed Hillside Drive at that end. But they also put the bus drop-off, the parent drop-off and pickup on the back of the school at the end of Hillside Drive. Now the parents come on from all those subdivisions realize they can just come down Hillside Drive and ride over into that drop-off. They don't have to go up to 9th East or Fashion Boulevard or State Street. So traffic is building up again. We've also had school buses this year using that street to get over there to drop the kids off for school. So that is what we're seeing as they're developing more and more. We're getting more and more traffic again. And that curve is always going to be a danger spot. You cannot see any kids walking to school on that when you're coming on that street. And the cars always drive on the other side. And apparently Murray City knows this, because when they plow the streets in the winter, they plow the east side right up to the curb. Our side, they plow down the middle. And so we have 4 and 5 feet of snow out in the road that we have to shovel out, because they know the cars are going to go down, cross that line and go down the middle of the street. So we really can't afford to have that much more traffic.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Hi, Patrick Garcia, 5670 Hillside Drive. I'm actually her neighbor. Just to echo her comments, but also to add to it, and my wife and I just moved in under 6 months ago to that area. We had talked at the previous planning commission meeting about the same issue, about people, the traffic that comes through there, and besides the fact that a lot of times people are speed, just because it does seem like a cut through, they do cut through the middle of that road. Actually, one of the planning commission members said, I have kids that go to that school, and I drive down that road all the time, and I drive right down the middle of the road. 2 days after the hearing, we sat out in our front window and we're watching. We watched 3 Murray City vehicles come driving down on one side of the road, and then where they make the curve, they cut right across the middle and they just diagonal it across. I don't think I've seen anybody besides a 16-year-old brand new driver that's afraid to drive that doesn't cut that street. Now, the problem with that is not so much just in the fact that they cut the side of the road, but it's also the fact that there's a junior high school, as she mentioned, down the road. There's McMillan Elementary School on the opposite end of that street. So it's a thoroughfare for kids coming back and forth for school all day long. It's hard for the kids to cross the street there at all as it is, but then the fact that there's an entrance, and that's the reason primarily that we're bringing it up, is that there's a spot that's not big enough for a house, but it's only big enough for an access road to that property that would add a tremendous amount more traffic to it, as well as the fact that it sits right in the middle of the corner, and it would just be an accident daily. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Just trying to pull out of there going in opposite direction or coming across the lane, there's going to be an accident. In addition to that, as I mentioned, we just barely moved in. When we moved in, part of the calculus for us as we looked at properties and we looked at communities was we didn't want to be across the street from a large multi-unit or multi-family units and stuff like that. That was part of our calculus looking in, and I know that it is for many other people as they're looking for properties. It would absolutely be a detriment to everybody's property that's along that, specifically the people that back up and would be having a view of, instead of the mountains, multifamily dwellings, but just being proximity to it. I mean, I don't think there's many people that would argue that it wouldn't be. And then my other factor that I worry about is the fact that because they do own the property just adjacent to it, there's really nothing saying they couldn't decide they wanted to tear it down and build a much larger high-density unit, because it would have or I guess it would be a higher medium density, but I think it provides a good buffer between an existing structure, and as you can see on the previous general plans, it was already a low density. It's maintained low density. I'm sure it went through an exhaustive process as it was reviewed during the previous general plan. It seems like it was thought out, it was logically looked at, and I think it was good as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I agree with a lot with what you said. You were talking about how they own.
Your name, please.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
That's
Yeah,
right.
let me start from the beginning. My name is Marilyn Maxfield. I live in 5654 Crown Point, which is one of those lots right to the east side in the R15 zone there. And as you can see, I'm concerned about it too, because even though that is zoned the same as the higher density, those houses are essentially single-family homes. They're more low-density housing. So that whole area is enclosed by single-family homes, and adding a multi-family unit there would be just a concern to both sides of that, not just from one side. And like he mentioned, they're both owned by the same guy, and I'm worried that if they change that property to higher density, that they might tear down the apartment complex and make a really big development there in the future. Obviously, that's a contingency, but I do know that both of those pieces of property are for sale right now, so it seems like that might be the case. Just guessing, but so yeah, that was pretty much my concern, was that that would be a possibility if both of those sold to the same developer and they made a high density housing. It would disrupt the single family homes on both sides, especially if they went right up against the fence. Kind of like my thought is down by the Macy's on that same road, 56. They have that new development with the, they had a conditional use permit where they put in those townhomes, and those are right up against the fence. They're really tall. They would be kind of looking down in the backyards of the people that live on that side. And I mean, that's obviously all just conjecture at this point for me, but if something like that were to go in, I think the houses on both sides would not like it. That's what I was saying.
Thank you. Any other comments, public comments?
So my name is Pat Van Heist. I live 5645 Hillside Drive, across from these guys. So my property backs up to that property. And being an educator, a retired educator, I see these kids walk to and from school every day. And I love seeing them have fun. But you know what? It's an accident waiting to happen. When cars come around that corner from the south, I just about was hit head on by a car coming from the north who cut. And, you know, fortunately I swerved and we were safe. But with more homes built there and multi-density, there's going to be more children on the street also, and more traffic, parents bringing kids back and forth and so forth. When I moved there, the Hillside Drive was very, very busy. I had a car land upside down on my driveway. I mean, on my lawn, a couple trees taken out, a fence taken out. Then Fashion Boulevard came in and the traffic lessened quite a bit, but it's coming back to almost where it was when I first moved in, when there was no Fashion Boulevard. So I just reiterate everything that these guys have said. The traffic is really a big concern, along with just why would you want to put multi or medium density in a nice little quiet neighborhood? It just, so those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Okay, if there's no other comments, we'll end that part of the, oh, we have one more.
My name is Joanne Tu, and I live on 5635 South Hillside. And my backyard fronts the piece of property you're talking about. They don't take care of the property at all. It's weeds and mess and dead trees that they've knocked down and haven't taken the roots out of. It's just a really big mess. We've lived there for 61 years, and we've loved it. We've loved it because it was a good place for a home. And if they lower the density on that, they're going to build something that we're not happy about for all the reasons everybody else has complained about. I complain about this. I don't want something in my backyard that's high density. That it's a place for just single family homes. The whole area is single family homes, and it's no place for the lower density houses.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Hi, I'm Brooke Garcia, address 5670 South Hillside Drive. And I just want to say, as a mom of a student at McMillan and Hillcrest and Murray, I am very familiar with the way that the students walk, their group of friends, riding bikes, things like that. Me and my husband did just move into our neighborhood in November. I come from the Holiday area, where I lived for 15 years in the same home that was single homes. Well, somebody decided to buy a house. 2 years later, buy the next house. 5 years later, buy the next house. Offer me a lot more money than what my home was worth to buy my home. I held out because that's where I was raising my children. Well, next thing you know, where 3 homes were, I think he put in 15 townhomes. That is when we decided to leave and we came to Murray. I actually grew up in Murray, where this property is. I went to daycare in the little yellow home. I went to school at McMillan, Liberty, Hillcrest, and graduated from Murray. I love Murray. I love that I can raise my children here. There is enough apartments, townhomes, and whatever in that area. My kids have friends that live in these homes. It's great and awesome, but we also do like the fact that that neighborhood still has part of its original Murray charm. That since now it's been 20 years and I'm coming back, I'm seeing that we're actually losing some of that, and it's very sad. So, even with it being low resident, I mean, adding possibly eight new homes, that is still a lot for an area that only did have one home. And the traffic going either out onto 56 or onto Hillside, 56 might not be an issue. There is a crosswalk right there that there is for McMillan kids to come over to school. So I don't know how that would play out. But on Hillside, I welcome anybody, Murray City Police Department. They can come sit in my living room and have a nice hot cup of coffee in the winter and watch how drivers are, or sit out on my patio and I'll give you lemonade. It is dangerous, and adding more traffic, either vehicle-wise or pedestrian-wise, I would hate to have an accident there that's already treading lightly on having there be one. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, if not, we'll close that part of the public hearing. And thank you again for everyone coming. To the council, any other questions for Melinda? No? Murray Yellow House, the applicants, do you want to say any more? Or?
One question that I have.
Will you come up? Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
One question that I have is, did the planning and zoning give you, we had some arguments previously, so you
Yes.
have those?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you. Okay, thank you again. Any other questions again for Melinda? If not, then we'll ask for a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance relating to land use, which amends the general plan from low-density residential to medium-density residential for the property located at approximately 344 East, 5600 South, Murray, Utah.
So your motion is in favor of doing the zone change?
Yes.
Do we have a second or another or any other motion? I'll call for another second. Okay, if I don't have another second, it dies? It dies, so, okay, motion.
I'd make a motion to deny an ordinance relating to land use, amending the general plan from low-density residential to medium-density residential for the property located at approximately 344 East, 5600 South, Murray City, Utah.
Do we have a second to the?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny and a second to deny Jennifer.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Kind of confusing when they have in front of you and you're normal looking at that, and so I know what you're thinking. Anyway, thank you, Melinda. Okay. All right, legislative report, Dale.
All right. Well, the good thing is the legislature's out of session. Until next month when they have an interim. House Bill 441, which was Tax Equalization and Reduction Act, failed. They withdrew it, and that was because of public pressure. I can't say how much it meant for people to become informed and call their legislator and tell them how unhappy they were with the Equalization and Reduction Act. They actually listened and they pulled it from the agenda, and they're going to study it, which they should do. I mean, there's things we need to do to maintain city and state services, but this was a little bit too much too fast. But they did HB 495 on the last day, which is Tax Restructuring and Equalization Task Force. They created a task force, which I think is a good thing. They're going to study it over the interim and see what they feel should be taxed and what they shouldn't be taxed. I think it was moving way too fast. But we still need to keep an eye on it to make sure, that what is taxed is something we can live with. And like I say, a couple of weeks ago when I reported they were going to tax health care, they were going to tax all kinds of things, but keep an eye on that as they go through the interim. And if you see something there, be sure to call your legislator and make sure they understand your feelings on this, and we'll move forward with that. Senate Bill 129, Public Safety and Firefighter Tier 2 Retirement Benefits, passed in the waning evening. It passed with some amendments. It won't go into effect till 2020, so you know what that is. When they changed the retirement from 50% for our firefighters and our police officers, they used to have a 20-year 50% of their earning pension. They changed it to 25-year and 37.5%. With a lot of hard work from a lot of good people, it'll go back up to 50%. They just have to figure out the funding, and that'll be taken care of in the next year or so. So our firefighters and our police officers will be able to go back to the 50% like the school teachers and everyone else. Senate Bill 34, Affordable Housing Modifications, passed. Both the House and the Senate. The bill modifies requirements and reporting to municipalities and counties related to moderate income housing plan element of their general plan, modifies provisions related to the use of transportation investment funds, the money. What that means is they've modified the restrictions or the law on moderate and low housing, and it's a carrot and a stick. They're tying it to highway funds. So I think Murray's in a good spot with this. We've got a lot of moderate and a lot of low income housing, and we're building more all the time. I think the mayor and the city have done real well there. HB 320 Container Regulation Act. The legislature were running a bill to ban cities from being able to moderate what type of plastic bags or any other type of containers they want in their cities. That failed. So cities, and it's a local jurisdiction issue. If cities want to do something with plastic bags, paper bags, anything, they should be able to do that. The legislature realized that. At least this year, they seem to run it every year, but it hasn't passed yet. And then HB 119, initiatives for the referendum bill. There were several referendums that made it onto the ballot this last cycle. I think that shocked the legislature a little bit because the bar is pretty high anyway. But they have revamped that. I haven't read through it to see what they changed, but there's some changes there to be able to put something on the ballot. And with that, Mr. Chair, those are the ones that mostly affected Murray City. And I think with the hard work of our our committee and with our lobbyists and the League of Cities and Towns, I think we fared a lot better on the last day than we were doing on the first day.
Great. Thank you. Dave?
I just want to second that our team did a wonderful job, because that tax reform legislation was on a greased rail, and it flew out of committee in the House side, and enough people got to their legislators to shut that down. So we did very well. The other thing we did that I think Lawrence mentioned is the transferring money from our enterprise funds to the general fund. We're allowed to do that still. That bill died that would have prohibited that. So we did pretty well going into a pretty dire situation. I think Dale did a great job with his lobbying team up there. So.
Well, it wasn't me. It was the GL, Jan, the mayor, Doug. There was a whole team that went up there, plus our lobbyists, and we stayed on top of this. And GL and the mayor did a great job.
Okay. Thank you for your report. I appreciate it. Mayor's report.
Thank you. Just a few things this evening. I want to update you on the progress of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, as you know, because you've been involved in it. But we are moving along with that. There will be an online survey that will go live next week. It'll be accessed from both the front page of our website and also the Parks and Recreation page. So we want to encourage the public to get online and take that survey because that data will be used to help shape our Parks and Recreation Master Plan for the years to come. And that will include our not just our Parks and Recreation facilities, but also our trails, programs, events, arts, and culture, all as well. So encourage you to be involved with that. Also, we're getting a little bit of warm weather, and our crews are hopping on that. In case you get calls, in case the public decides to call your council member or the mayor's office, our crews are out filling potholes all over the city on these nice warm days. So they're working hard on that, and also sealing cracks in the streets. The bridge on 6400 South at the canal there is water turned into the canal now. We should be finishing that up by the end of the month, and so we were able to finish that on time. So really, hats off to the Public Works Department on that because that had some problems that they had to deal with over there with that sewer line. So good job on that. Also, we expect to have a contractor on board in May and begin work in June on the Phase 1 Vine Street project between 9th East and 13th East. So you can expect to see more cones in that area come June. And also I wanted to make you aware that we are aware of a glitch in our online payments software. It's not accepting PayPal transactions for business license renewals. So I want you to know that our staff, our IT staff, is working very hard on that, and we're told that they will soon have a solution to that problem very soon. And finally, it is Fix a Leak Week, March 18th through 24th. So this week, we would urge anyone who is having dripping faucets or other plumbing to drop in and visit with our water division personnel. They have a booth set up at the Lowe's on 5th West and 45th South. They're there between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. this week, and they're to offer expertise and I believe some discounts as well. So that is my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the mayor? All right. Thanks, everyone, and we're adjourned.